Hi everybody, my name is Kunle Pelemo. You can call me KP. I'm asking you to join me every Friday 5:30 p.m. GMT on the MHAASP show right here on MZ Radio London. It's a show where we talk about mental health and suicide prevention. Set a reminder for that. And just before I go, I want to let you know I care about your mental health. And you know what? Stick around right here on this station. Don't go nowhere. It's Friday, and you know what time it is. It's the time for the MHAASP show with KP on MZ Radio London station on the hill and AP Radio UK station with distinction. This is a show where we talk about mental health, and then we also create conversations around suicide prevention. How is the Friday going wherever you are? Some people already are saying TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. And in some other parts of the world, the Friday is just starting. Wherever you are and however it is, I am sure you're going to have a very lovely Friday, just like I am having right here, right now. It's good to be on the show. My name is Kunle Pelemo. They call me KP. And you know, whenever I'm here, you know how we say it on this show. KP in the building. I'm glad to be in the building, and then to just let you know that I am not alone in the building. I've got a guest in the house who is definitely going to come and make the show a bumper package like we do back to back, week in, week out. So I'm going to let the cat out of the bag almost immediately. But just before then, this is to tell you to tell someone, just like I used to say every week, don't be selfish with the show. Tell somebody who is not listening yet to tune in. It's the time for your mental health and suicide prevention show called the MHAASP show right here, right now on MZ Radio London and AP Radio UK. Our discussion today, it's a personal life experience, a personal story of our guest in the house today. She's coming to talk to us, to share our story, just to let you know that you're not alone, whatever you are going through when it comes to mental health, that it's time for you to speak up. It's time for you to kill the silent culture, because it is by speaking up that you will be able to get help whenever and wherever. So that's what we're going to do on the show today. My guest will be talking about our experience about depression and how she bounced back and how she's currently creating support for people who are having mental health related issues. Today, I have the pleasure, the privilege of having in the studio with me Omotola Akinwale, who is a counseling psychologist, mental and emotional wellness coach. Our journey to counseling psychology began as a result of spotting a need in individuals who needed a listening ear, a safe haven of trust and help with a sense of fairness and encouragement. She started out fully with her passion about 7 years ago after she was a victim of depression and trauma, which also included suicidal thoughts. Our healing process further ignited a passion to help others through difficult challenges and tough situations using psychological techniques and therapy. She has trained over 2,000 students across Western Nigeria on different topics and or every other thing pertaining to mental health and emotional health. She also runs several online classes for mental health wellness. The classes deal with various topics that span across physical, vocational, intellectual, social, environmental, spiritual, and emotional challenges. She also runs therapeutic sessions online and offline for individuals with many testimonials to our credit. She's a lady of too much volumes for a brief text. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MHAASP show. None other but Omotola Akinwale once again. Hey, how are you?
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh my. As I was reading your bio, I was just taking a brief sigh, silently that, oh my, you have a very, very lovely bio and you're doing a lot. And somehow, before we go ahead, let me just make you feel relaxed on the show and welcome you with what I used to welcome all my guests. How are you? How you doing today?
I am fine. I'm doing amazing.
Good, good. That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. Now, I mean, you have a story to tell. You have a story to share, and I know how powerful stories are, whenever
Yeah.
you share personal experience. And I want you to unpack the story first because today's show is definitely going to be divided into two, where you unpack the story about your story, your personal story about depression, and then the other part of it is how you bounce back, and then the support you receive and what you're currently doing. So, firstly, now you have the floor to tell us how it all started. When I listened to some of the story, I was just wowing, because you're an expert, but somehow you got depressed. How did it happen, Omotola?
Okay, I wasn't an expert when I got depressed. I
Hmm.
was I was just going I was still studying at that time,
Okay.
and it was my depression story that made me go into volunteering full time, because
Hmm.
I wanted to help other people with what I have gone through. I felt
Hmm.
like, okay, it's a shoe that I can readily understand. I could readily wear. So I was already doing my certification course already
Okay.
when that happened, but I wasn't an expert in the field already. It
Then.
wasn't
Okay.
like, yes, it
Okay.
wasn't like I
Okay.
was an expert,
Oh.
and yeah, it
Okay.
happened.
Okay. 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 So, how did it all happen? How did it start? Unpack the story.
Okay, so it began. I started noticing a few changes in my body at some point, and it wasn't normal. So I started to run different tests at the hospital, and you know, you know how going for different tests could be all of the time. You don't know what's wrong. They don't know what
Yeah.
exactly point at, and all of that. And I knew that, okay, something was wrong, and
Mm.
later on they found out it had to do with my genes, my hormones, and that
Mm.
something wasn't right. And the beginning was when the doctors, some apology to the medical profession, but sometimes there's just some news that you don't just break to some people in a
Yeah.
certain way, like you just tell them and it seems like their whole life is crashing down. So that was the sort of news I heard that day. And although it wasn't painted to me like, oh, your life is all gone, but that was how it felt at that
Mm.
point, like, oh, your life is all gone. You can't have the kind of amazing life you've always dreamt of.
Mm.
So I got really down, and to be placed on meds that you
Mm.
even know that, I mean, you're going to do this for almost like the rest of your life. And
Mm.
it was really, really devastating. I was crying and all of that. And later on, the meds started to mess up with me, the side effects and the likes. So
Yeah.
I started,
Yeah.
so it was like from one journey to another journey.
Mm.
And then it kept, it was like a circle that kept, going round and round and round. So this minute I was fine. The next
Mm.
minute I am not fine. Why are
Mm.
you not fine? Because something had caused another effect of another thing. So it just kept going like that. And before long, it started to affect my academics, it started to tell on my finances, it started to tell on a whole lot of things. So I just sank in. In fact, the sinking in wasn't even deliberate, it was gradual till it
Mm.
became full blown. And I started to get suicidal.
Whoa,
So
whoa,
that is
whoa.
how it all started.
I know started. Now during that period, what are the things that you began to notice that you were doing and like the noticeable things. I know you must have been seeing some things that maybe you weren't doing before, emotionally or psychologically. Can you keep us up to speed with such things?
Okay, first thing was I basically lost interest in everything and anything. That was the first thing I noticed at that point. So it was like nothing interested me. I had hobbies I wasn't even interested in. I lost my appetite for a very long time. I started to really get withdrawn, moody, quiet, essentially quiet, and I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want people to be around me. And at some point I started to lose sleep. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't sleep for a very long time. And if I
Hmm.
would sleep, it would just be, just few hours, and I will be
Hmm.
up again. And so it was all of those things I noticed. I also noticed the fact that I wasn't the lively person I used to be. I love
Hmm.
people being around. I'm an ambivert, so I love
Okay.
people as much as I love to be on my own also. So I just loved my own company, and I just wanted to just, stay alone. And those were the things I was
You
noticing at that
noticed.
point. Yes.
Now to flip the question to other people who are with you now. Now the people now, did they notice anything? Did anybody call you to tell you that, yeah, we've started noticing these around you? Because these are important conversations, because we are not
Yeah.
living in isolation.
Alone.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, a friend of mine actually, because the day I was about to the first time I thought about suicide, she was the one who came to my rescue. She just
Hmm.
noticed that I had not been around all of the time, and she just called me and said, "You know what? I'm coming to your place today." And she said, "You can't say
Hmm.
no. I'm already on my way." So it was because she even called, because I didn't want her to come and meet me in a very awkward situation.
Yeah.
So when she came, at that point, I just really felt loved. And that was the point I opened up to her. And I was
Oh.
like, oh, this was what I was going to do. And she was like, wow. Like she actually said she actually noticed that I've been really withdrawn for a
Hmm.
very long time. And she just she said, because I'm always watching out for people also. She was
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't see this person around. What's up? Is this person fine? And all of that. So I just get to check. So she said when she didn't see me doing all of that, she just felt, oh,
Hmm.
she's really fine. And she didn't know that it was, that much.
Wow, wow. So, I mean, that tells us a huge effect of what support could have when you have people
Yeah.
around you. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if she's even an expert, but just being around
Yeah.
alone, just giving you listening ear, just being there
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
did a lot to help you. I mean, that's powerful. And these are the conversations we've been creating also regularly on the show. Being
Yeah.
there for one another as a form of support. Now, we're going to take a breather now, take a break. And when we come back now, we're going to delve into how you bounced back fully to become support for so many people. I mean, from your bio, we read that you've trained over 2,000 people. What
Yeah.
was the turning point? This is still the MHAASP show, and we've got Omotola Akinwale in the studio. We'll be back after this musical break. Don't go nowhere.